Welcome to the inaugural video from the Outloud group. I'm Joel.
I am Brad. Hello from Detroit.
Hello from Detroit. So, a few weeks ago, Brad and I were discussing a particular campaign, and we were throwing out ideas. We were engaged in what to us was a very interesting conversation. And the thought occurred, and to this day we don't know to whom it occurred.
It was a thought.
It was a thought that occurred to one of us, but the other quickly agreed that, hey, we've been working in influencer marketing for several years now. We do an enormous amount with YouTube. What if we simply shared some of these ideas, brought some others into the conversation that we're having, and put it up on YouTube and see what happens? So, without further ado, we present to you the Outloud group video.
And I would like to add that we are actually dinosaurs in this space. So you said we've been doing it for a few years. How many years is a few, Joel?
Well, that's a good point. To clarify, we have been doing this since 2008. So
let's not do the math. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and we are indeed dinosaurs in this space.
Which brings up an interesting question then.
Which is?
What is influencer marketing, and what is influencer marketing not? So you get to choose. You get to pick which question you want to answer first.
That's a good question. I will go with what influencer marketing is, and I'm going to let you address what influencer marketing is not.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So that means I get to go first.
So you go first.
Right,
I think we should start with what it's not.
Okay. So here's what influencer marketing is not. Influencer marketing is not grabbing someone who's really well known and have them be associated with some cause or organization or business or brand. That is not influencer marketing. That is having some person out there suddenly be connected to your brand, but you're really not necessarily taking advantage of the sphere of influence of this individual. And so there's a really important distinction there, as we've seen from some prospective brands, not necessarily brands that we've worked with, but people who think that influencer marketing means having really smart people, interviewing them and putting them on, let's say, a YouTube video. That ain't influencer marketing, people, right?
Okay, so to throw out an example is having one of the Kardashian offspring talk about your product on their Instagram feed or post a picture. Is that influencer marketing?
I would say that could be influencer marketing. I mean, certainly those are very influential people, whether we want them to be or not, right? The Kardashians are extremely well known. So when the Kardashians speak, people will listen. And if you're using the Kardashians on their social media feeds, that's going to be really powerful because they have a huge sphere of influence. So what's happening there when you work with the Kardashians on their social media feed is that you're tapping into their world rather than having to build up your brand, your followers, your customer base yourself. So that's an important distinction. What's really unique about someone like the Kardashians is everyone knows them. So if they were to go and work with a new startup that no one's ever heard of that has 5 followers, and they would do a tweet or a YouTube video, even with 5 followers, it's suddenly going to become news. So I guess anything you do with someone that's at that large of a scale is going to be influencer marketing.
So is there a difference between an influencer and a celebrity? And where's that distinction?
Yeah, that's a great question. So celebrities are people who are really, really well known, but not necessarily well trusted, right? So when they say something, there's not necessarily a lot of influence because people don't trust them. Maybe people don't even like them. People are aware, so they'll pay attention, but they won't really change your behaviors because of that. But the secret sauce of influencer marketing is the connection that exists between influencer and influencee. Is that even a word?
I think so. Yeah, I think it audience would be another way of putting it.
I like audience better than influencee. So are there particular influencers that you work with and see that have a tremendous connection between themselves and the audience regardless of product? I mean, is that even possible that there's a big influencer, there's a big level of influence independent of brand?
So really good question. I think we probably need to have a couple different buckets here at this point where, look, if I have let's say the product is a new camera, right? I'm XYZ camera manufacturer. I've got a new camera coming out. It has really interesting features. I do want someone, and I want it to be taken seriously by the camera world and by the professional photographer class. But I also want to make this camera accessible to a mass audience, because I actually intend to make money on this. So I want a lot of people to buy it at Target, right? So with that, yes, I would. I want a professional photographer to go have, go spend some time with my camera, talk about it, speak about it compellingly, and that person's going to speak about it from a place of authority. That is, so there the expertise really, really matters. Now, that said, if my target market is, say, moms and dads with kids, all right, well then, I need moms and dads with kids who do have an audience, have a built-in audience, and have demonstrated a connection and a truly powerful connection with that audience. Yeah, I want them to be featuring my product. I want them to be talking about it. So I think you can have these expertise agnostic product recommendations, but I do think there is a camp of certain kinds of product where the influence has to be restricted to the expert to be meaningful. For instance, we've been having some discussions with a large IT concern around very, what's the word? I mean, kind of heady, very industry specific technology where the average Joe doesn't, if it's not a consumer project, the average Joe's recommendation isn't really going to matter. What you really need there are experts to come involved and say, hey, I will lend my voice, I'm going to lend my credibility, and I'm going to allow you, the brand, to come into this community that I've built through my podcast, through my YouTube channel. I'm going to let you come in, and I'm going to advocate for you within that. And that, I think, is the heart of it. And I would actually, I take a little bit of issue with, I threw out the Kardashians. Yes, they have influence, but it is so different than what we typically think of when we're coming with influencer marketing, when we're designing campaigns. What they do is so radically different than what a typical influencer campaign would be that it doesn't deserve the same word. Right. That there is influence doesn't mean they're an influencer. I see an influencer as somebody who has built a small community around a particular topic or some kind of point of interest, and they've gathered an audience, and they've built that community, and there's trust, and there's rapport, and there's interaction, and there's like real interaction. Because I can't tweet I don't even know, Khloe Kardashian. I think that's one of them, right?
That is one of the
I cannot
the
tweet Khloe Kardashian.
Kim and Courtney and Rob.
And get anything back from them. What I can do is I can, for some of the YouTube channels I follow, I can make a comment on a video, and I can probably, in all likelihood, get the host to respond. Where that exists, that's influencer marketing, because I'm tapping into a dialogue that already exists. So and I think that's the purest definition of it.
That's a really important distinction that you just made there, is that the fact that someone's famous doesn't make them a good connection with the brand. That brand, to use a consulting-esque term, it's got to be adjacent to that sphere of influence where the influencer has already created, right? So Lindy Beige, one of our favorite YouTubers, we have many favorites, but he's certainly one of them, is a history YouTuber, and he's formerly been approached by folks to try to do a shampoo advertisement, which he's been really brilliant to turn down. But he now does advocate for online learning product where there's a huge history offering. So there's an adjacency there, and I think really being able to understand the adjacent market is important, in addition to the secret sauce of knowing which influencers have an audience that's going to respond to that influencer. But that's a whole nother topic for another day to understand the secret sauce of influencer marketing. But
I agree. I think we can get that next. But I think, so if by any chance you, dear viewer, have a different definition or would like to offer your own definition, throw it in the comments below. We would love to hear yours. All right. So I want to suggest a campaign. I want to test you on something here, or I'm happy to lend my voice as well. I want to imagine what we would do differently, where a big brand, small brand, whoever, they've come along, they've done an influencer campaign, they've done a video, they've done an integration, and we look at that and be like, ugh, something's just not quite right.
Right.
So
okay, but we're not totally digging it.
There's something that could be done differently. So couple years ago, for the Super Bowl, Nissan had this fantastic idea. It was with Dad, right? That was the one. Yeah.
Hashtag
so
with Dad,
with Dad,
2015 Super Bowl.
which was fantastic. And they enlisted a fantastic YouTuber that's got an incredible vlog. Started out as a prankster. Now he's moved squarely into vlogging. Roman Atwood. This guy has managed to build this beautiful audience around him. He has tapped into something that frankly, I don't know if anyone else previously had. I really think one, he made the transition from being a prank channel to being a family vlog, which I think was, that's tough. But he did it with natural ease. And we know, from our own personal experience, that, Roman has a very responsive audience. So Nissan comes along, they do this with Dad thing. Roman does this incredible integration where he fills his house full of plastic
Plastic balls.
Just plastic
right?
balls. I don't
about
know if there's a term for them. Yeah, they're just plastic balls, and he has friends, and they're jumping and off trampolines into this full fun house balls basically, and the whole house is full of them. His wife comes home, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It's a great video.
It's a great video.
Gotta check it out.
Now, I've got
the links below.
Links below. I have some. If you haven't seen it, do go watch it. And I look at that and I say, this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity for Nissan. And you know what? The first time I watched that video, it wasn't in the Super Bowl. I came across it independently. The first time I watched it, I actually did not know that Nissan had done it.
Womp womp.
Which, to me, utterly fails the most basic test of an influencer integration is, did it do anything for your brand?
So Joel,
at all?
is the Nissan logo in the video at all?
As far as I know, there is one shot of him driving a Nissan where the logo on the steering wheel is present, but that's it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's nothing else.
There's no mention of it. There's no Nissan in the show notes.
Right.
No nothing. Okay, keep going with your story. I just wanted to frame that.
Right, which on one hand, now listen, I will give kudos to Nissan for not being nuts about control here and wanting to just have their brand completely smothering the video and having every Playhouse ball be Nissan logoed. Well done, Nissan, for not being nuts about it. However, I do think that there was missed a real opportunity. Because look, you've got a continuum here. You have brands that just want to be associated with somebody cool, and that's their branding. They're like, we're coming alongside Roman Atwood. He's doing interesting stuff. We're going to be associated with them.
Right.
And then you have, on the other hand, is like, we've got, the brand has a very strict message, and they are just using the influencer to be their mouthpiece.
Which is a terrible idea.
Which is a terrible idea. Yeah. So, and I think like that doesn't work, but also just the mere association, it doesn't really work either. Mm-hmm. So there's somewhere in the middle of tapping into what is it that Nissan means for with Dad? What were they wanting to do? Was it just the mere association that they would hope somebody would pick up on, and therefore have this subliminal association of Nissan as family and cool dad? Like, was that what their goal was? Because I gotta believe that's a really subtle message. And in all the noise of modern media, I really think that probably didn't get communicated.
Well, let me take the opposite tack on this. Let me take the opposite tack because for background, this was the Super Bowl in 2015, and Nissan worked with a handful of influencers prior to the Super Bowl. So let me make sure I get these right. Epic Mealtime, Dude Perfect, Convos with My 2-year-old, Action Movie Kid, and of course Roman Atwood.
Yeah.
And they released a series of videos using the hashtag with Dad prior to the Super Bowl, and these videos didn't have any Nissan branding or almost no Nissan branding. But what happened was immediately prior to the Super Bowl, Nissan releases the video. You can see it online. They got 3 times the response rate than what they've ever done, and part of the reason was because no one necessarily knew that there was Nissan behind this, and then when people found out this was part of a broader campaign and about to be released for the Super Bowl, then this level of intrigue somehow started to rise up above the noise, and then people really appreciated Nissan. So you've got these 2 different approaches, which one is like, hey, how can you not share your brand? The other is, well, if people don't know that what's behind it, that makes them thirst for more information.
Okay, so what would you have done?
I would have branded it.
Right.
I absolutely would have branded it. I would have done a soft branding if I'm Nissan, right?
Right.
So I would have been really, really clear that let Roman have creative freedom, because Roman is absolutely brilliant and knows his connection with his audience better than Nissan ever will.
Right.
But I would have just done a simple, hashtag as part of it, and I would have had either Roman call out, "Hey, thanks to Nissan for this great concept about how dads can be more involved in their kids' lives and what things they do to make kids feel special." Some tiny thing, or at least put that in the description at a minimum. Say, "Hey, thanks to Nissan," or hashtag it.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I think now, if there's anyone out there who from Nissan or your agency who worked on that, I would love to have a conversation with you. You're always welcome to come on the Outloud group video, and I would love to hear your reasoning behind that, your thinking, and whether Nissan believed it to be a success. Given how viral that video went, I gotta believe there's somebody in the Nissan marketing department who's kicking themselves that they didn't just put literally a 1 second logo at the end of that, Nissan and with dad. I gotta believe. All right, we're gonna move on. Okay. Here's the challenge. This is item 3. How would you design an influencer campaign? So here's the challenge.
Okay.
Scenario.
Hit me.
I just saw it recently. The History Channel premiered a new show that's called The Selection. And The Selection is basically they're taking 30 people and they're having a bunch of ex-Special Forces guys take them through some kind of facsimile of what BUDS would be, or Delta Force training, or the Green Beret selection, one of these really, really elite military selection programs. And these are regular civilians, and so it's going to be this unrelenting physical training, interrogations, everything that you would go through. I'm sure not everything, but some kind of something that echoes what a BUDS or some kind of other intense selection process. So your History Channel, which is a great idea, and it's amazing that nobody's done it before.
Absolutely.
So history, well done.
Everyone loves Special Forces.
Fantastic idea. What would you do to promote this? Because one, I think you're challenged by just simply having it on TV, because we're all cord cutters, TV's dying. So you've got a challenge there. You want to drive people to it. You want to drive people with the right person, not just the idle people who are going to go check it out. You want to drive the right person to it. So what do you do?
Well, first thing I'd want to do is figure out who is the right person, right? So you've got to know your audience. You've got to know who you're trying to target. I mean, this is marketing 101. Let's create the persona. Let's give the person a name, an age, a gender, an ethnicity, and let's start to develop a campaign to understand what that individual wants to watch, right? I mean, that's a natural place to start. And then once you have that, I'd really want to zone in on those influencers who can move the needle in that space. So if an influencer has a great reputation amongst nerdy science people who like top tech gadgets, that's who you should target. And frankly, maybe for something like Special Forces, actually that's something that techie, nerdy people love and dream about, is being able to kind of have the other side of the coin where I could be a military Special Forces person. I don't know who it is, to be honest with you.
Right.
I'm not smart enough to know that.
Absolutely smart.
But my mom thinks so too, so I appreciate that. But I'd want to try to figure out who's the right target, right? So I think that's the natural.
Okay, so let's
point.
assume that we've done that. We found the right target. Now, how do we design the campaign to truly use influencers in the right way? Because I'm gonna start with what the wrong way is. The wrong way to use an influencer is have shout outs on. Let's say we've identified the right demo. Okay, so we got the demo. Now we're going to go find YouTube shows, podcasts that meet that demo, right? The wrong way is to just simply do a shout out saying, hey, History Channel has this new video called The Selection, and here's where it's airing, and go check it out on the History Channel. That is the wrong way to do it. Now, quiz for you. Why does that fail? Why do I believe that would fail?
I don't think that connects with the audience enough, right? I mean, for influencers, if they're just hawking a product or hawking a TV show, that's not necessarily connected to why they're good and why they have a sphere of influence on those individuals. So that to me feels like you're just hawking a product at that point.
Totally agree. All right, so what's the right way to use an influencer here?
Well, I think you want to have an influencer that knows that space reasonably well and fits that core demographic and is able to offer something to the audience that's going to get them particularly excited. So it might be education. So maybe you're working with an influencer that's going to be able to educate on the science of the rope climb or the physics of the rope climb, which would be a part, of course, of the Special Forces training. So I would start there. So what other ideas would you have for ways that the influencer can make a positive impact for this brand?
Okay, so here, this is what I would do is let's find, show X. It's got the right demo. Let's assume that it is 20s and 30s male, right?
Yep.
So we've identified that show. So this has all been filmed, right? I would take one of the members that showed up on the History Channel on the selection, and I would connect them with the influencer. And after an episode's already aired, so we're not letting the cat out of the bag, right? So we're going to take that influencer. We're going to say, hey, this next episode's coming up. You went through some crazy stuff. Why don't you put contestant, put me, influencer, through some of those things? And you're going to pull the influencer into the very process of the selection. And then by definition, you're pulling the audience in as well. And you could have something interactive where then you add a social element to it where there's some kind of, maybe we want to do a giveaway or something like that, but there's if there's a call to action, it's not just go watch the video.
Right.
The call to action is, hey, you audience, I just had to do 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups over the course of the day. I can't feel my shoulders, I can't feel my abs. Now, how many can you do? And you throw it out as a challenge to actually pull the audience into the process. And you have whether you hashtag it or what, but you have some kind of social interaction with the audience around the content. That's going to go drive. That's going to actually make people curious. Hey, what happens to these? And it also, because you're putting a contestant from the selection on this influencer, you've just made that person highly sympathetic in a way that just being on the TV show actually doesn't.
Absolutely.
You've given them another avenue to actually connect with that. It's connected to the influencer. Again, this is about community. So you're dropping that selection contestant into a community that is pre-existent, and now you just have this audience that is now sympathetic and wants to see that person win.
You know what? I think there's a great message here in what Joel just said. For brands out there, if you can sell the people creating a better version of themselves, you're going to be successful. And so what you've done with this TV show is you're having the influencer go through this and allowing the viewers to be challenged to do the sit-ups and the push-ups and the pull-ups. Now people are creating an incrementally better version of themselves because of your product. Now they're hooked, right? Now they're engaged. They feel personally connected to it. They're going to watch, right? Because now they can relate and they see themselves growing as they watch the TV show. And that's really, really powerful when you can get that connection between the individual's growth and the growth of the brand.
Absolutely. All right, well look, we've been rambling for a while. We really appreciate you watching. If you have made it this far, thank you. We appreciate it. Again, any feedback that you have, any questions that you think we should be talking about, we would love to hear it. Throw it in the comments. We thank you for your time. And next time we put a video up, we look forward to seeing you. Thanks
Goodbye
so much.
from Detroit.
Yeah.